the best of the week on Relevant Radio.
Hello, Cynthia. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank y'all so much for speaking about this topic. My first question is, in our work with the homeless community in Austin and San Antonio, we do try to help them to become aware that they are dignified children of God. And sometimes I tell them, "Do you believe that Jesus is King?" And they say yes. And I say, "Well, then what would that make you?" And they kind of look at me, and I say, "Well, that would make you a prince or a princess, right?" And it's good for a little laugh, right? And it kind of opens them up. And then the other thing is, I don't understand why so many people still have such a negative view of our homeless brothers and sisters. If they could just get out there and experience and see that face, see Christ in them, and see their longing for God. And because that's what we see. And so we do take the message of divine mercy out there. But Father, how can do you have any advice on helping to make them aware of their dignity? And how can we better get people to understand?
Well, I think you calling in the show today, number one, I don't know how many thousands of people just heard you say what you said. It's a challenge, right, to meet the poor versus just meeting people is really good. You know, I used to go up to now Bishop Adrian from Maine used to run a food truck in Providence, Rhode Island. We would go up there, and one thing I learned from him, and he taught us and our kids from us, we'd go to the homeless shelters outside and feed them. And people, we imitated him. He would ask people their name. So he'd go up to someone on the street, even if they're crazy, and say, "What's your name?" And if they're at the car, you lower the window. "What's your name? Can I say a prayer for you today?" Not only $1, but what's your name? Because God knows their name. And I think it's a simple thing to do that. So I think that's why we all need to push out, especially if you're living in the suburbs or something, or maybe you live in the city and everybody's got their doors locked and their bars and their windows. We got to get out. We got to find a place where we can go help humanity and meet the poor. And the poor always bless us, right? If you go and Jesus said, "I'll give you 100 times back." So if you go to a shelter and you meet someone, I know some families that Christmas time, they purposely get a safe thing set up where they adopt a family in the city. They go to the house. They have their children meet the other children, and they get more out of meeting the people than giving the gifts. And the people, there's those kind of things, those human interactions that even just one, you kind of, especially if you have kids or grandkids, parents, maybe people off the tracks. And I find people that are grieving, for people that are grieving, they start living out the Catholic social teaching. They get healed from their grief. They get out of their own thoughts, what they're lacking. And if they get involved in some kind of ministry, they get lifted. It's weird, but you live out Catholic social teaching, you help the poor, you honor Christ, but you lose your life, you gain it. And it's a little way we can lose ourselves and just be about the need in front of us. Again, not just material poverty, but the poverty of those that don't know Jesus, those that don't know how to pray, people that are lonely. This is not only about material things, it's about everything. It's about human beings. So the Catholic social teaching calls us the dignity of every person. So just meet the person, see their dignity, and sometimes revealing that to them is that simple. Like Cynthia just talked about that, just meeting them, looking at them, loving them, and there's no greater way. We should meet Jesus in two places, in the tabernacle, in the Eucharist, and in the poor. Those are the two places he can mostly be seen. But just like people don't see the real presence in the Eucharist, other people don't see Jesus in the poor. So two places where do we have the eyes of faith, right? So can we see Jesus in the poor? Some people see him in the poor, they can't see him in the Mass. Other people see him in the Mass, they can't see him in the poor. Both of them your one eye is blind.
Right,
we got to
right.
be fully, we have 20/20 vision here, everybody. We can get to, can you see Jesus in the poor like you see him in the Mass? If you see him in the Mass, can you see him in the poor? And I think we got to do better. Whatever eye is weaker, we need to get to the Holy Spirit optometrist and be able to see. So maybe
Love it.
Maybe that's the way we need to get our eyes healed, right? So we can see. And maybe today this little program will give you a little nudge. You're not sure. You just go do something for God. Just do one thing, one act of human dignity, And I think that's it. We can't save the whole world. We're not supposed to. God did. Christ is already victorious. But again, I issue that challenge. Maybe that wasn't. I hadn't planned to say that. But can we see Jesus in the poor? Any need, not just material. Can we see Jesus in the Eucharist? And ask Jesus to increase your faith in both. Lord, increase my faith Let me see you in human need. Let me see you in the Eucharist more. And then our lives will be better. We'll have a peace inside regardless of what's going on, the clamor in the news. We'll have a peace the world can't give us, right? So that's what this is all about. The teachings are magnificent. They're simple, profound, demanding, and freeing all at the same time. So buy into the whole thing.